morning, team. It is Friday and it's time for Winterween. I have already started reading for this vlog. I started on Wednesday, but I'm here to like officially do the introduction. I kicked off with a shortish book that's got a house on the cover. And it's called The Final Scene by Steph. I don't physically own it, it's on my Kindle. And I liked this one. It was weird actually because it wasn't what I was anticipating. So it's about this girl who was kidnapped 10 years ago and she's been living in this cabin ever since. And other than that, I didn't know much else about it other than I knew that people had been coming in and out. Now, as it turns out, we're following Brooke, who is the woman that was kidnapped 10 years ago. She's left behind a daughter who was literally a couple of months old. And we are also following a handful of other characters. What's happened is she's been kidnapped and she's forced to live in this cabin with a collar around her neck that will shock her if she does anything wrong. And there is a perimeter set in which if you breach that perimeter, you die. The collar triggers and just literally kills you. So what she's actually doing though is playing out this woman's life called Grace. And Grace is the woman who's kidnapped her with the help of a henchman, if you like. And essentially she's playing out this woman's life, and it does have like an end date. And over the last 10 years, Brooke is the only one that's survived. There's been different people coming in and out. Brooke plays older Grace, like current day Grace. There is a young Grace, and then there is Albert, Grace's husband. So there's been several men coming in and out over the years that have then been killed because they've either done something wrong, they've not followed the rules, they've tried to escape, etc, etc. And then same for young Grace, and Brooke seems to be the only one that has been consistent, followed the rules, in the hopes that maybe someday she might be able to get back. Now, one day a new guy comes in to play Albert, Derek, and she ends up finding out some stuff about Derek, and they start to compile, after the girl that's in there that plays young Grace, something happens to her, they start to compile this way to get out. On the flip side, we are also following this woman called Mina who's renting a cabin down by the beachfront, I think. She starts to notice that the cabin next door seems to have a young girl in it and her dad, but the young girl seems to keep writing help on the window, and she's starting to get more and more concerned. But the guy that keeps coming around to drop food off on their porch is also the guy that ends up coming around when she phones the police when she's worried about it, and these two events end up being tied together. Now, I wasn't expecting this turn of events when I picked this book up. I didn't know that Brooke was playing out this woman's life. I didn't know that that was what was going on here. Makes sense now with the title, but I didn't know that's what was going on here. I thought it was just like a general kidnapping story. We find out about why she's been there for 10 years and then there's some kind of escape artist route out. Not as simple as that. And it was bizarre, very bizarre. It threw me for a loop for sure. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It was good and I liked it, and I would pick up from Steph again. It just wasn't what I was anticipating. And yeah, I just wasn't expecting. It was really, really weird, literally insane. But I did give it 3.5 stars and it was good, and I'm glad I've read it. I've been wanting to read that one since I saw Jan reading it last year. She got it through Twisted Retreat, which is a subscription box I would love to sign up to, but very expensive because it's coming from overseas. So yeah, I did start off with that. When I read that on Wednesday, I was coming to the end of the first Keep It or Yeet It video, and I kind of wanted something that I thought would guarantee me a very good read, and it was good. It didn't guarantee me the 4 or 5 star that I was hoping though, which is a shame, but we move. So I do have some other books on my TBR that I would like to get to, and for right now I did start another book this morning. So I have started The Shining actually by Stephen King. I wasn't anticipating picking this one up for this vlog, but I went upstairs and I had a lot of Kindle books on my TBR originally, and I was like, the whole point this year, it is to try and make some progress on my Kindle TBR, but quite a few of those were Kindle Unlimited as well. And the whole point of this year is to try and reduce my physical TBR. So I wanted to try and, I was aiming for that. This, which was recently gifted to me by Gecko for my engagement. Thank you, Gecko, again for sending me this one. I truly appreciate it. I've watched the movie for The Shining, but when you read the synopsis of this, it's so much more different than, well, not so much more different, but quite different in some of the things that are mentioned with this. So we are following Jack, and we're following his family, Danny, his son, and his wife Wendy, and he ends up becoming a caretaker of a rather large hotel at the top of this hill, and then a snowstorm ends up coming in like a blizzard, and they end up stuck there for months on end. And slowly but surely Jack starts to lose his mind. Not only that, but it appears that Danny has psychic powers. Now, this is everything that I know from the movie, but on top of this, on the back of the book, it also mentions, but as winter closes in and the blizzards cut them off, the empty hotel seems to develop a life of its own. Why are masked guests riding in the elevator, and who is the lady in room 217? I don't remember either of those events in the movie. Maybe they were cut, or maybe I've just forgotten about them. Somewhere, somehow, there is an evil force in this hotel, and that too is beginning to shine. So I've decided to pick this one up. I thought it would be perfect for this vlog, and I do want to make some more progress on the King books that I do have now, because I have like 6, I think. I've read Misery and Carrie before. I have The Shining, The Stand, Cujo, and It. So I thought it would kick the ear off with one of these, because why not? And it is one of my mid ones. It's like 500 pages, just shy of 500 pages. And I have made a start on this, a decent start on it as well. I'm 150 pages into this already today. So it's going well so far, and I'm enjoying this. It is quite interesting. So we've already got some incidents of Danny and his psychic powers. He's got this guy that he sees regularly. I don't know if there's a guy or a kid called Tony who tells him things sometimes, and his parents are just assuming, I think, that it's an imaginary friend. I'm not sure how that actually works with his shine. Danny is only 5 years old, but in the words of old Mr. Holloran, he is a shiner, a glow with psychic voltage. So don't know how that all works, but I'm interested to give this one a read after seeing the movie multiple times and never quite understanding how it is one of the most horrific movies of, like, is it the 80s or the 90s, whenever it came out. It's never really terrified me. Like, I understand the isolation side of things, and I understand that it can be quite frightening, but it's never terrified me. It's never frightened the bejesus out of me, do you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm interested to see if the book will do the same. I've never hit a 5-star read from Stephen King, so I'll be interested to see whether or not, there's a lot of people on Goodreads saying that this is their favourite Stephen King. I love Carrie, and I do really enjoy Misery as well. I do love that one too. Pet Sematary was really good, and Rose Madder was fantastic. So yeah, I'm intrigued to continue on with this one. And then I've also brought down Killing Stalking, volume 5, for just a quick, short-ish read. This is obviously volume 5 in the series. I will be continuing on with it. This is the last one that I do have. Volume 6 and 7 are now out, and volume 8 comes out later on this year. That's what I'm kind of aiming to read. We'll see how much progress I can make on The Shining today. I would love to finish this today. I don't know if that will be possible, but I would love to finish it today, and then I can move on to something else, but we'll see what happens with that. I was going to do Patreon sprints today. I'm really just absolutely mentally drained. It's been a really long week. It's been like the first week back at work fully for pretty much everyone, I think. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty drained, so I think I'm just going to chill for the day, stick the audiobook on for this. I may even go and get my jigsaw out from upstairs. It has snowed a lot. I've just taken a bunch of Instagram photos for the Instagram challenges for Winterween, so I'm excited to get those up. And yeah, I'm feeling the Winterweenness with the snow outside. I will show you what it looks like.
Another rainy afternoon, I don't know what I'm to do. I just miss you more than anything. It's way too quiet in the house. I'm just wasted on the couch, 'cause I don't wanna feel anything. Wish you'd stayed here beside me. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Wish you'd stayed here right.
Alright, it's Monday. I haven't updated you all weekend. It's been a little bit of a strange weekend. Andy is quite unwell. He came home Thursday not feeling too great, and then even worse on Friday, and he spent the majority of the weekend curled up on the couch, wrapped up in a blanket with the fire on. We did go to the wedding fair yesterday, which was really nice, but other than that, he's been really unwell. Like, he's phoned in sick in work this morning because he's just super unwell, which isn't like him at all. So he's currently in bed. I will be going downstairs in a minute and getting out of his way. But I have been reading The Shining by Stephen King. I did get to page 311 on Friday, and I intend to finish this today and then move on to something else. I think I might do a novella as well to give me a quick sense of achievement, the Josh Malerman novella, and then I don't know what else we will move on to. So I'm enjoying this so far. It's going really well. I think I said to you on Friday that I wasn't sure. I didn't think that the lady in room 217 was a thing in the movie. I remember it now. I'm fairly certain that actually it was. So that's interesting. The more that I read about it, the more that I'm like, no, I'm fairly certain that is a thing in the movie. So yeah, the masked guests in the elevator though. I remember the twins on their bikes. No. Danny's on a bike. I remember the twins though stood at the end of the really long corridor. I remember that, but I don't remember guests in an elevator. I don't know. But so far, really enjoying this. It is quite creepy, so I'm having a very good time with it, and I'm looking forward to getting through the rest of it today. I think I've got like 2.5 hours maybe left of the audio, so I'm going to go in to smash my way through that, and then I will move on to something else. It's currently 10 to 1. I don't know. Andy could end up sleeping the whole day, so we'll see what happens with that. But I'm going to go downstairs, get myself settled, and get to reading. I think that's what I'm going to do today. I have filmed a video, so that's good, but I feel, although he will sleep through it if he has nodded off already, I feel bad about being up here working while he's unwell, so I'll go and read instead, and I can, if he does go to work tomorrow, I can do some filming tomorrow. If not, I will just do the filming tomorrow regardless. But yeah, hopefully he feels better very, very soon, fingers crossed. So I'm going to get on, and I will check back in with you when I finish The Shining and let you know what else I decide to move on to. Hello, it is much later in the day. It is 10:10 in the evening. We have ourselves a little bit of a situation here. Andy is incredibly unwell, and it's kind of gotten worse as the day's gone on. So I filmed a little bit this morning. I let you know what my plans were going to be for the day, and he went back to bed about 11 o'clock because he didn't come to bed last night. He slept on the couch last night, and the night before he didn't sleep at all. He had about 2 hours and then came downstairs about 2 o'clock in the morning and then stayed on the couch for the rest of the night. So for 2 nights now he's been on the couch, and this morning he went back to bed about 11 o'clock. So I've been downstairs on the couch doing some reading, watching a lot of YouTube, and just kind of procrastinating my ass off because I didn't know when or if he would be coming back down. I didn't know if he would be feeling better. I didn't know what was going on. So about 7 o'clock I went up to go and check on him, and he's not in a good way at all. He's not eaten much since yesterday afternoon. We went out for some lunch after we'd been to the fair, the wedding fair, but we had a carvery for dinner, and he ate some of that but not a lot. And then I did him 2 barm cakes this morning with some jam on because he said he didn't want to try anything else because he was feeling sick, and he ate 1.5 of those, and then he's had the same this evening about 7:30 when I've gone up to check on him. and he's only at one bam. So I've left the other one with him in case he wants to snack on it through the night, because he slept literally the majority of the day. So I have got myself set up with the airbed in the living room, and this is going to be my bed for tonight at least, but probably the foreseeable until he's better. I am not about getting ill right now. I have not the time, so it makes sense for me to sleep down here and he will sleep upstairs, and once he is feeling better and on the mend, I will obviously wash all of the bedding, and then I will, you know, go back to bed with him. But until then, I'm going to be down here on the airbed. We bought this late on last year for people staying over, and I'm so glad that we have it. It was under the bed, so I had to make him get out and get the spare quilt as well, but I'm just really glad that we have it as a backup. But today I did finish The Shining. I did some colouring in and I did finish The Shining. This was good. I had a very good time with it. There was, you know, a lot that I recognised from the movie, because I've seen the movie several times. There's a lot that I recognised from the movie. This was definitely scarier than the movie. It got under my skin a bit more than the movie did. I've never really found the movie that frightening, to be honest. I know it was a big hit. I know it was a big hit back when it came out, and it was deemed absolutely terrifying, but I don't necessarily agree. I don't know. I suppose it depends on what freaks you out a little bit, but this was really good and I really liked it, and I'm glad that I've read it. I had a very good time with it, and I did give it 4 stars. I don't think I've ever rated a Stephen King novel more than 4 stars. Carrie and Misery, I would say, are my favourites, and they should probably have higher ratings, but I can't remember what I've actually given those books over the years. I do want to reread both of those, actually, now that I have physical copies of them. But yeah, I gave Carrie 4 stars and Misery 4 stars as well. So I've given them both 4 stars. I think I gave Pet Sematary 4. Yeah, I've never given anything more than 4 stars. I DNF'd 11/22/63. I didn't like that one. I was really bored. And I didn't love The Gunslinger. I gave that 3 stars. I actually think that's probably more like 2, looking back. I liked Rose Madder as well. What did I give that? That's one of the less popular ones. Where are you? Oh, Elevation as well. I forgot I read that one. I gave that one 4 stars. Rose Madder, I gave 4 stars, yeah. So in general, he's mostly 4-star reads for me, with the odd DNF and 3-star read. But yeah, this has joined the 4-star read ranking, which is absolutely fine. So yeah, I have finished this one. Proud of myself for doing so. I did want to mention as well, I've been reading another book on my Kindle called Fight by Sloane St. James. I will show a picture of it here. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and it did come out this week. It came out on last week actually. It came out on the 7th, and then the second one in the series is the first in the Sky Ridge Hotshot series. And then the second one by Paisley Hope came out on the 9th, and then the third one came out on the 11th. So there was like 2 days in between each of the releases, and I don't know why I thought that this was going to be physically possible at all, but I thought that I would be able to read them, you know, like read Fight, and then on the 9th, when Paisley's is released, read that one, because I would have finished with Fight by then. I just thought that I would be able to read these books in 2 days, and I don't know who I was kidding. So anyways, I've been reading Fight since it came out on the 7th, so we're now on the, what are we, 13th? Yeah, we're on the 13th, and I'm still reading it. Don't know who I thought I was. So I wasn't going to include it in this vlog, but I might as well, because I'm reading it during this process. I'm on page 262, 76% in, and there are 350 pages, so I've got less than 90 pages, I think, at this point, maybe 88 pages. I think I might try and finish it this evening, but it's basically about wildfire firefighters, and we're following Callahan, who is a wildfire firefighter, and also Prescott. I forgot for a minute then, because I've got Sloane in my head, because I read an arc earlier on this month and the main character's name is Sloane, and the author of Fight is Sloane. So I've got Sloane stuck in my head. Prescott, aka Scotty. So we're following Callahan, who is the firefighter, and then we've got Scotty, who's an EMT, and she's run away from a situation with an ex-husband. Well, a husband that is an ex, and we slowly but surely find out what that situation is. I didn't expect it to be what it was, which was quite interesting because I've never read that in a book before. But she's run away to this small town where she's now found herself working with the Skyridge hotshots, and she finds herself very quickly kind of in a situation with Callahan where she's caught his eye. He's kind of sleeping his way through literally everybody after a really bad breakup 5 years prior, which we get a look-see into very early on in the book. And they very quickly build a very physical relationship that then changes just as quickly into a very bad miscommunication, which pissed me off a little bit, honestly. If they'd just spoken to each other, this problem would have been resolved. So they become enemies very quickly. So they're strangers, they become friends with, you know, lust involved and sexy times, and then enemies, and then lovers. And it's a lot. There is a lot going on, and it's just purely a lack of communication between the two of them, how they end up in this situation. When we get to a point where the communication comes back in though, and they end up having a conversation with each other, they're very, you know, very self-aware of the fact that it was really fucking dumb that they didn't just speak to each other. They're very self-aware. So it pissed me off in the moment, but once we came back round to it, I was like, okay, so they're self-aware that that was just fucking stupid and they should have just communicated with each other. Good job. So yeah, I'm reading that at the moment, having a very good time with it. It's very intense. There is a lot going on. There is so much more still to be resolved, and I don't know how we're going to get that in the next 80 odd pages, but we'll see what happens with that. And I would love to go on to Protect as soon as I've finished this, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I'm reading that, and I might as well mention it. Although it isn't a horror or thriller, there is a in kind of intensity to it and suspensefulness to it with the fires, and you know, and especially with everything that's going on in LA at the moment, it is terrifying, and it is quite hitting a little bit, not close to home because I don't live in the States, but close to home in the sense that there is a very real world situation happening that involves this at the moment. So I don't know, in kind of frightening, you know, in that sense, but it is a romance. So, but I thought I'd mention it regardless in this video because I'm reading it during this time period, and I will finish it during this time period, so I might as well mention it. It's another book to tick off. And then I did start Never Lie by Frida McFadden this afternoon. Once I'd finished The Shining, I would have ended up finishing either Fight or Never Lie today had I actually buckled down and got some reading done, because everything was so up in the air with Andy, and I get very much like this, you know, if there's an appointment in the middle of the day, I can't do anything until that appointment's been and gone. And I'm very much so the same with, if I don't know what's happening with him and his situation, I feel like I can't sit down and get myself into a book or into a movie, because at any moment I could be interrupted. So I've just found myself in that situation today and kind of binge watching BookTube instead of reading, which is, you know, lost opportunities really, but it is what it is. Which I can do about it. So I'm hoping this evening that I can finish Fight, and then tomorrow I can get through Never Lie. I really wanted to read one of the other books as well. I would really love to get to Bitter End, but I've also got my eye on True Crime Story as well, because that's actually on my TBR for the month. So I don't know, we'll see. I don't think I'm going to get to both of them. I will probably prioritise, for some reason, Bitter End over True Crime Story, because I am very keen on reading that one. Maybe if I just at least start True Crime Story, that would be great, and then I can finish it off another time. Or maybe if Andy is still incredibly unwell over the weekend, I just extend the vlog into the weekend. I mean, I might just extend the vlog into Friday anyway. I will be home on Friday. I'm going to be at work Wednesday and Thursday, but by the looks of things, he's not going anywhere. certainly not tomorrow, and probably not Wednesday, other than the doctor's Wednesday if he's not any better. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, I just wanted to update you, let you know my little evening situation, and then what I got up to with my reading. So I finished Stephen King. I'm now on with Fight by Sloane St. James, and also Never Lie by Freida McFadden. I didn't get too far into Never Lie, by the way. I'll come back tomorrow and tell you about that, because this has already been a very long clip. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. Hello, it is Tuesday and I'm here to give you an update. It's Tuesday morning, I'm on sprints with patrons, and I finished Fight by Sloane St. James last night. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was very, very good and I had a very good time with it. I did feel like it didn't necessarily drag in the middle. I was just dragging my feet with it. I think it was me more than the book, but it felt like it took me way too long to get through. So not only that, but there was a little bit of like spit play in there that I wasn't really a fan of. It made me visibly go ugh, which, you know, do with that as you wish. But 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was very, very good. I think it was a great start to the series, and I'm very excited about moving on to Paisley Hope's book, which is called Protect, and I have moved straight into, I've only read the first chapter, but I have moved straight into, I will probably end up finishing that next week for final book support group. It will be a continuation station, and if I have the time I will finish it off with the last one, which is Honor, but we'll see. But yeah, I have finished Fight by Sloane St. James. Not a thriller or a horror, but it's another book that I've read in this vlog. It is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, that's something else that I was going to say about it actually. Not only is it kind of like the terrifying side of things that, you know, it relates heavily to what's going on at the moment in LA with the wildfires and stuff, but there is an isolation side of it where our main character, she ends up getting stuck up a mountain. She goes on a hike and there ends up being a rock collapse and she ends up stuck on this mountain, and he comes to rescue her, and they end up isolated in this cabin for 5 days because there ends up being a massive snowstorm. So kind of counts for that as well. There is like a winter element to it, so you know, whatever. I'm not justifying myself. I've read it during the week and I'm telling you about it. I did tell you yesterday that I went on to Never Lie by Freida McFadden, which is what I picked up after I finished The Shining, and I got a few chapters into that and I am enjoying it, but I've decided to put that down for today and shelve it for today, and I've actually decided to pick up True Crime Story by Joseph Knox. This is my pick for Buzzwordathon for January, which is the word true or lies. Some variation of true or lies, so truth, true, lies, lying, etc. And I went for True Crime Story for that, and I wanted to prioritize this. Also, it's a physical book, whereas like Never Lie is a Kindle Unlimited book. Suddenly realized looking at my books that I was prioritizing that. I seem to be prioritizing my Kindle Unlimited books more than my physical reads. So I've decided to pick this one up, and we've just done one sprint for the day and I'm already 66 pages into this. It's going very, very fast. I've got the audiobook, which I'm really enjoying so far. And essentially this is following, it's done in such a way that it feels like it's real. I think along the lines of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. When I read both of those books, which I read years and years ago, when I read both of those books, I can't tell you how many times I googled Daisy Jones and the Six and Evelyn Hugo. Like, I genuinely was convinced these people were real. The information that we got on them and the character development and all of that stuff, I was 100% convinced these people were real, and I'm already 100% convinced that this is a true crime and that, you know, this is Joseph Knox's story on this true crime of this missing girl called Zoe, who went missing on Saturday the 17th of December in 2011. She was 19 years old and she went missing in Manchester. She was a Manchester University student, so it's literally in my city. And 7 years later, writer Evelyn Mitchell finds herself drawn into the mystery and begins piecing together what really happened back then. But when some versions of events make sense, others are troublingly inconsistent. One thing is for sure, Zoe isn't the woman she was pretending to be. She may be missing, presumed dead, but her story is only just beginning. And essentially Joseph has taken over on this because of something that has happened to Evelyn. And it starts off, I've already googled this to see if it's true or not. It starts off with like a publisher's note, essentially going on about this being the Second Amendment, amended second edition of True Crime Story, includes a writer context on the previously undisclosed role of Joseph Knox in the narrative, as well as his response to various allegations raised in the press and online. Further, Penguin Random House can confirm that they and Mr. Knox have mutually agreed to conclude their business dealings and have no plans to undertake any further projects. It's published by Penguin, and I'm convinced it's real. It's not, but I'm convinced it's real. If you Google Zoe Nolan, it will come up with this, and then some speculation on whether or not this is fact or fiction. But so far I'm really enjoying it. It's done in like interview style, so we're kind of getting conversations with her friends and her twin sister and her parents, and it's kind of building up this narrative of like what her life was like and this whole story. And so far I'm really enjoying it. And then we get emails back and forth between like Evelyn and Joseph and them discussing the book and things like that. So I'm enjoying it so far, though. It's definitely giving Evelyn Hugo and Taylor Daisy Jones and the Six vibes. So if you enjoyed those books for the feel, not like the story itself, but for the feel of this is real and these people are real, if you enjoyed that aspect of it, you will like this, I think, because it's giving me those vibes 100%. So yeah, this is what I've decided to pick up. I'm prioritising a book I should be prioritising, which is a good thing. Okay team, hey, I'm here to wrap up Winterween. Sorry, I'm just opening my thing to tell you what I read because I forgot. This feels like it's been going on forever. It's just been the longest week of my life because Andy's been so unwell. It's been such a long week. So yeah, I'm here to wrap this vlog up. I managed to finish 4 books in this vlog. I did DNF another. Only 3 of them though were like horrors and thrillers. One of them was a romance, but it did have a winter setting, so you know, I think it still counts. So the first book that I did finish for this vlog was The Final Scene by Steph Nelson, and I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked it. It was a lot weirder than I was anticipating, and the plot went somewhere I didn't expect either. So I did give that one 4 stars. Then I did read The Shining, which I wasn't expecting to pick up, but I did, and I'm glad. I'm really happy actually, because I forgot in my goals video that one of my goals for the year is to read more classics, but like modern classics. I don't read the likes of like Jane Eyre and Jane Austen and all of those books. I don't read them, they're not for me. But modern classics like Stephen King, Jurassic Park, etc, etc, Sherlock Holmes books by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, etc, these are for me. So I wanted to read more this year and I forgot to put it in my goals video. So I'm glad that I've done this. I kicked off the year very, very well with Stephen King, with The Shining, which I haven't read before, and I gave it 4 stars. It was very good. Then I did read A Fight by Sloane St. James, which is the romance that I read this week, and I gave that one 4.5 stars. It was really good and I really enjoyed it. Had a very good time with that book, and I'm glad that I managed to get through it as well during this vlog. And then I did move on to True Crime Story by Joseph Knox, which I also gave 4.5 stars. This was well on its way to being a 5-star read. I absolutely loved this. I was getting 5-star feelings right up until around like the 60%ish mark, because it was giving me the vibes of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six, and not in the sense of the type of story, but in the type of storytelling. So I was 100% convinced that Zoe was actually a missing girl, and all of these people are in fact real. All these interviews have actually happened, and everything in here is facts. That's the impression I was under from beginning to around about 60%, and then it started to get a little bit insane and you were having to suspend your disbelief a little bit too much. And so I just found myself being pulled out of that mindset of this is facts, and I was like, no, this is fiction now. I can see it, it's definitely fiction. And for that reason it did lose a half star, only because I was giving it the 5 stars because of the vibes it was giving me. So other than that though, the writing style was incredible. I loved the storytelling, I loved the pace, I loved the audiobook. The audiobook was fantastic, and I have downloaded another Joseph Knox. I've downloaded Siren, so I'm excited to read more from him for sure, but I did give it 4.5 stars in the end. And then I did DNF Never Lie by Freida McFadden. I got 75 pages in, put it to a poll on my Instagram because the main characters were insufferable. I can't remember the names of either of them, to be perfectly honest, but she told me in 75 pages approximately 15 times that, maybe it wasn't that much, maybe 10 times, that they have only been married 6 months, they've only been together a year, and she's got a secret she needs to tell him. And then the secret was revealed and I was like, just tell him, he's your fucking husband. And I get it, they've not been together long, they've only been together 6 months, well, they've only been together a year, they've only been married 6 months, remember, you know? So he might lose his head, I don't know. And they're stuck in this house owned by this doctor, psychologist that went missing some years prior. They ended up finding themselves stuck in this house. They went to view it, and then a snowstorm came in, and now they're stuck in the house. But some weird goings on have already started to happen, and we were about to get to a point where we're getting into the cassettes that the doctor used to make of her meetings with her clients, but she's actually found some of them, so she's about to start listening to one while her husband's in the shower. But I just find the characters insufferable. I do not care. It's all very, we've only been married 6 months, but in these moments it makes me remember why he's such a great husband, blah blah blah, he's gonna hate me when I tell him the secret, blah blah blah, oh my god, my husband's so handsome, blah blah blah, oh my god, you're the best husband ever, well, you make it easy when you're the best wife ever, oh my god, cringe, stop, just stop. It was insufferable, and so many people said like don't continue with it, so I'm not going to. I don't care. Do not care. So I DNF'd that one. And I was going to move on to something else, but honestly I just knew I wouldn't have the time to finish it, and you know, I like to finish the books in the vlog, especially when it's a vlog like this. If it's just a normal weekly vlog where the following week I will continue on with the book, that's fine, but next week is final book support group, so I wouldn't have continued on with the book, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I don't know how it's going to come out, to be perfectly honest. I can't, the week has been so long, like I can't believe today is only Friday. This vlog did obviously start on Thursday last week, but I can't believe today is only Friday a week later. It feels like this vlog's been going on for like 3 weeks. And that's not the vlog's fault. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below. Did you take part in Winterween? Have you read any of these books? Let me know, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.